Hi, welcome to Arena's suite of tools geared towards folks who are seeking jobs. This session is on crushing your interview. Maybe you have just secured an interview and you're feeling a little bit nervous about it, maybe a little excited about it. And we're hopeful that this session will help you walk into that interview with confidence and help you crush it. My name is Santiago Martinez. My pronouns are he, him, his. My background is in data, organizing, and digital. Tad bit of consulting before coming to Arena. I've seen it all. I have interviewed myself. I have been an interviewer. I've also sat on the sidelines and watched a handful of interviews. And along with the team here at Arena, I've been thinking a lot about what it takes to be successful when interviewing. And so who we are, for those of you who aren't familiar with Arena, our mission is to convene and train the next generation of candidates and campaign staff. And change who has access to political work by diversifying the talent pipeline. And so the first step in that is Arena Academy, which is our method for training campaign staff. And to date, we've trained over 2,000 current and aspiring campaign staffers, and we look forward to growing that number in 2023 and beyond. A big part of our program is also supporting those who have gone through our training programs. And so Arena trained staffers have held more than 2,000 roles on campaigns and progressive organizations since the start of Arena Academy. And that includes 550 over that number this year in the 2022 midterms alone. And so after attending Arena Academy, you gain access to a variety of services and supports through our talent program, like resume workshops, networking, one-to-one coaching, and Arena recommendations on on jobs that you can find for yourself. Then there's also the Arena Toolbox, which is maybe how you found this video today. Our Toolbox has free tools, guides, videos, podcasts that help practitioners build winning campaigns. And so whether you're in a job now or you are job hunting, there's something in the toolbox that is relevant for you. And so our goals here, we've broken this up into 3 modules. One, the first module is process and expectations, understanding the timelines, what hiring managers are looking for. Then in session 2, preparing for your interview. Reflect on the potential stories, strengths that you might want to highlight throughout the course of that interview. And then module 3, we will focus in on a framework called the STAR method, which is used for answering behavioral questions and being able to do that in a clear and concise manner every single time with all of your interviews. So again, you can crush it. So module number 1, process and expectations. This is really important here at the top, especially if this is your first job in the campaign space, whether you are transitioning from another industry or maybe you're coming right out of college. It's important to sort of level set in terms of how campaigns stack up against other industries. And one of the unique things I think about campaigns is that they can operate on abbreviated timelines. And so oftentimes campaigns are up against the clock. And even if it is a year from election day or 6 weeks from election day, those timelines for hiring can be abbreviated. Whereas in other industries, you're looking at a 4 to 12 week process. Oftentimes in campaigns, they're hiring for they're hiring multiple people for the same type of role, same job. So I remember when I was hired as an organizer way back, I was like being hired alongside 30 other organizers. The same might also be true for roles like campaign manager. So, a year and a half out from election day, they may be, campaigns or sort of state parties, the DNC may be hiring for multiple of the same type of role across many states or many districts in a state. And so there are a lot of opportunities that are at hand, and there's sort of an organized process for that. Whereas in other industries, there's maybe 1 or 2 roles that are open at any given time. Because of the nature of campaigns and the timeline in which they move, they will regularly rely on networks for recommendations on who they should hire. This makes campaigns really insular. This is something that we're trying to sort of sort of push back against doors to new folks, but this is how these campaigns work and how they will oftentimes approach hiring. Whereas other jobs are, because they're not moving at that same speed, like have job openings for much longer. We'll consider applicants who applied a lot longer, a lot longer ago, and are maybe classified as like a cold applicant who applied 2 months ago and now is getting a phone call. Campaigns also often have rigid salary structures. And so this is just an important thing to keep in mind in terms of what is your ability to negotiate salary. It's still something that we recommend all applicants do upon getting an offer, but it's important to just understand that there may be some restrictions and inflexibility there. And oftentimes I think that's related to some of the other progress that we're making in the space to either make salaries more equitable, to raise the level of what salaries are for a given role through the great work of unions. So there may be bounds in which that are there, but we think that a lot of that stuff is in service of hopefully pushing forward better and more competitive salaries. Next is the life cycle of the campaigns. So the interview process in campaigns often will look a little something like this. So phone screening will be step one after a quick review of your resume, then a first round interview, second round interview. There can be a lot of different voices that you're talking to throughout the process. So there may be one point of contact during the first round interview. The campaign's gaining another perspective with a separate person in your second round interview. There's oftentimes some sort of work sample, portfolio that they want to see, practice activity. This can take many different shapes and forms, but we're getting to review some type of work product, seeing what you put together, how you organize your thoughts and work through some type of scenario. Then there's the reference check and vetting. This is maybe something that's a little bit different compared to other industries. Reference checks is pretty standard, but the extra bit here is the vetting, maybe background check, depending on the type of role. Just a little extra scrutiny on background can be something that, as you're thinking about the life cycle here and the timeline, is something that can take a little bit of time. And so sometimes it'll feel like this process like moves from one step to the other really quickly, but then it will slow down at other stages right before getting to that final decision. And so at every step of this process, you should know where you are. And if you are getting reference checked, if you are getting your background checked, you should be aware of that. And hopefully whoever is going through those steps has made that apparent. But it can still take time, even if you are sort of abreast of where you are in this stage. So what are hiring managers looking for? This is the key. This is the crux of this first module. But the first thing we want to also do is just pause here and think about and reflect on what is a word or phrase that describes how you feel when you are thinking about interviewing. And this reflection, I think, is important because there can be a whole range of emotions associated with interview. Positive, negative, all of the above, everything. And no matter how you're feeling about an interview, you can succeed, you can get through it. And, these are all common things to feel. So I think that's an important thing to just highlight and pause before we dive into it, because interviewing can be stressful, but it also can be a relief to finally hear back after submitting resumes upon resumes, and you finally have heard back and someone has taken notice and is excited to talk to you. And so you should also be excited. And when we're talking about what hiring managers are looking for, I also like to turn that question back around on you. What are the qualities that you value most in a colleague? Oftentimes, the answers to these, if you're sort of scribbling down as I'm talking, and thinking about what those qualities are in past teammates, places where you really enjoyed your time. Um, you know, those qualities are the same values. Those are the same things that a hiring manager is going to be looking for. And so think about that even as you start to prepare. We're going to highlight 5 qualities that we think are important. But even still, as you are thinking about what qualities matter to you, those are going to be the same things that a hiring manager's. So the first one we want to highlight is confidence. Um, Everyone is battling imposter syndrome, even the person that you were probably interviewing with. And it might be the first time that they're actually hiring somebody, or hiring someone in a long time. And so confidence is a big thing, and it goes both ways. And what's really important for you to know about the perspective of the hiring manager is they want you to be the one. They want you to be the person that they hire. They're looking for that diamond in the rough out there somewhere in the sea of resumes that they're maybe culling through. And they've decided to reach out to you, schedule an interview, because they think that you might be the person who can fill this position. And so be mindful of your tone, body language, sit up a little straight. You got that interview. That's step one. The next is emotional intelligence. So, we want to work with a lot of people, and I'm sure this is part of what you scribbled down, even as you were thinking about, okay, what do I value in others who I've worked with? Being self-aware, empathetic, comfortable expressing feelings, feeling motivated, attuned to others. Those are all things that we want in the people that we are working with. And that's also something that we can bring to the table. And throughout the course of the interview, that's also something you can demonstrate in terms of how you listening purposefully. And there are any number of articles that have been written about it. This is something that, especially in the past 10, 15 years, people have been talking more about its importance and its value in leadership. So there are TED Talks, the Harvard Business School Review, anybody who's studying, how organizations work have done some research into the importance of emotional intelligence. And so this is a big factor, especially in campaigns when, the human aspect of this, we are talking to voters, we are trying to make an impact on voters' lives. That emotional IQ is really important. Also really important in this line of work is authenticity, trust, and building connections. Both of those things together strengthen the teams that we work with. And interviewers want to walk away with some sense of who are you and what are you about? This is a place where you can make a connection between who you are and the work, and what this organization's goals or what this campaign's goals are and the values that they have. And this is a place where you can make a connection between that and your personal story. And so this is a place where you can share something personal about yourself. But it's also important for you all to remember you just even respect your own bounds. You don't have to share private details, anything that you don't feel comfortable with. But again, it's just connecting. It's about connecting to that overall mission, and why this is important to you. The next thing that we think is important to highlight is curiosity. If you're not curious, then you're not interested, and it can come across that way to someone who you might be interviewing. And so consider what you need to know to evaluate if this job is even a right fit for you. And so clarifying questions, can be helpful in sort of finding out what is important to you. What do you need to know about this role to feel confident saying yes to it? And I hope that you find yourself in a situation where you are evaluating multiple offers at one time. But this is also, again, a two-way street. You are doing homework here, doing a little bit of fact finding throughout the interview process to figure out, is this the right fit for you? The next is a growth mindset. And what this means is just holding the belief that your own personal learning never stops. So setbacks equal places and opportunities for learning. And there's so many different ways, and we'll get to the STAR method in the third module, where we'll talk about this more in depth. But like, how do you encounter setbacks and different learning opportunities? I think this is also an important thing when you are thinking about a long job description and feeling that sense of imposter syndrome when you're like, I don't check all of these boxes, but your friends, your former colleagues are encouraging you to apply for something, and I hope you do it, and I hope you did, and you got this interview. But bringing a growth mindset to the interview process is huge because you stepping into a role, growing into those different tasks and responsibilities that are listed in a job description is how you can be excited about what your next role is and grow into that role and continue to thrive in this work. So to review, confidence, emotional intelligence, authenticity, curiosity, growth mindset. These are the things that you should be, thinking about how you embody these and demonstrate for whoever your future employer is that you're interviewing with. So knowing that, will help you set yourself up for, a really strong interview. And so remember that every question is an opportunity to show your skills, your talent and passion. And again, that's an opportunity to show that you're interested in the role, but also it's your homework. You're doing fact finding as well. And so the next session in this series will be on preparing for your interview. The next one will talk a little bit about what the nuts and bolts of that are. We also have some guides in the Arena Toolbox that will help you in that process as well.